Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teliosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. It's my privilege to be your teacher. I invite you to visit our website for this podcast, read the disclaimer, find the important links to other resources. We have some tables on the website that aren't easily found otherwise on the net, and our grammar link, the Bible links. Hope it's all helpful. Hope you find the podcast helpful as we learn biblical Greek, really doing it together. It's a great review and learning experience for me as we all seek to know God better by going to the original language to better understand the biblical text. Wow, how exciting. We're in the last half of verse 22, chapter 1 of Ephesians, the great book of Ephesians, ending Paul's model prayer for the believer. And he's basically in praise mode. Good place to be. Let's go to the text. First word in the middle of this verse is kai. So we've seen that a lot, and it's always Kai, links to connected thoughts. And then alton. So this is, again, he, she, it. You notice the on ending, which is telling you it's masculine, singular, and nom and accusative. Excuse me, the n is accusative. We come to a verb from didymai. Didymai is a common word to give, and we see it all the time. It's one of the mi verbs. So these typically have a reduplicated consonant with the epsilon on the front, and with an iota, reduplicated consonant and iota on the front. In other tenses, like we see here, which is the aorist, the mi comes off, the reduplication comes off, and there is no connector vowel like a sa, and so that will help identify the verb for you, or like an a. So this is also didymai, one of the k aorists. K, it's usually sa that identifies the aorist, but there are three k aorists, the kas, and this is their didymai, tithemi, which means to take, and then very common verb, and then iemi, which is to sin, which isn't near as common. So this is, again, Greek's always a challenge, and there's always variations. So let's work through this verb. So we don't see the reduplicated consonant in didymai, so we know that it is not in its present tense. We see the epsilon, which tells you that is a past tense indicative, of which aorist is one of them, one of those tenses. The imperfect and perfect are the others. So we have the omega, which is there in the root word, no connector word, but we do have the k aorist, and the en, which is the third person singular of the verb. Okay, so the other forms in the singular would be sa for the first person, second person SAS, and then really the SE, and often has the N on it, for the third person singular in the aorist. These are called the second set of endings and should be described in the grammar link that I've given you. Okay, I should make a correction. Tithemi is to place, not to take, to place. So obviously I wasn't thinking correctly there. I apologize. Kephale, which is now in this form kephaline, means head, where we get the English word adjective cephalic for meaning the skull, the adjectival form of the skull. And it has the N ending, means it's an accusative. So it's feminine with the eta ending, and singular. Uper, where we would get the word hypodermic, or that's hypodermic, excuse me, hyperbolic, so over, basically, and taking meaning over something, superior to it, on top of it, can take the accusative, which it does here. This preposition also can take the genitive, but here it's the accusative. So overall, here we have pas again, which we see a lot. So remember the root word is pant. Again, you don't need to memorize this because it's in the codes associated with the Greek text that you can get on eSword. But the pont then just adds the a directly, panta, meaning the neuter accusative or nominative plural. So overall, T ecclesia. So this again is singular, and it is the dative. So to or by something, to the church or by the church. Well, he's not using the church, it's to the church. And of course, it's singular. So what do we have here? And gave him to be the head over all things to the church. So him here being Christ. Okay, instructive lesson today. Glad you're with me. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. We start verse 23, which is the last verse of the chapter. Congratulations to reaching the end of a great chapter and a very informative Greek. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time.